I'm working in the New Perspectives Microsoft Access 2010 textbook. I'm in Tutorial 3 and I'm picking up on page AC139. I'm going to use a comparison operator to match a range of values. First, to do that, I'm going to create a copy of the query that I created in the prior section. So I'm going to right-click on Holland Customers, click Copy, click anywhere in the white space in the navigation pane, right-click and paste. It's going to paste the query as, and it gives you the name. Normally what I like to do is I change the name of the query first and then I remove the copy of. And I do that simply because if I mess up and give it the same name as another query, it will save anyway and then I have a chance to fix it instead of getting the error message. So it's just a habit. It's nothing that you have to do. So click OK. I'm going to open it up, and right now it looks exactly like the Holland Customers query. Let's go to Design View and take a look. Now, one thing I'd like to point out to you is, do you remember that City field was before email? Now it's after email. Refer back to page 133 and you see that when we added the fields in step 6, it says company first, last, phone, address, city, and email. And now email and city have swapped places. That will happen. Whenever you remove the check mark from the show box, those fields that are not showing in the query results in Datasheet view will move to the end. So it just happens. Leave it alone. Okay, moving back to page AC139, we're going to remove the criteria for Holland. And I like to do that first and then run the query. I'm back to 64. That means there's nothing else going on with this query. And so I do that before I add the new criteria, and the new criteria is going to be greater than equal to $25,000. Because that dollar amount appears in only one field, it appears only in the contract amount field, I have to make sure that I add the criteria to the contract amount field. And I also want to make sure that my criteria matches the values that I'm going to see in that field. So I'm going to run the query and we're going to look. See what's showing in there. I've got some weird decimal places going on there. We'll have to fix that. What we see here are dollar amounts. So I'm not going to come down here and put in contracts greater than $25,000. So I'm not going to put in something like this. And I see this all the time in query writing, is that instead of writing the criteria so that it matches the data, what I see happening is that someone will write in contracts greater than $25,000 because they're following the book and that's what the book says. But you need to analyze your data. So it's got to be something like greater than equal to $25,000. Let's give that a try. And it's working. And I have 23 records just like I should according to the textbook. I'm going to save this query and I'm going to take a look at my decimal places here and see what I did wrong. So I'm going to go back to the table and work on it there. So it's in the contract table. And evidently when I set this up, and I'm going to do it in design view just because it's easier for me to see. Decimal places 1. I want decimal places 0. There we go. And I will update that everywhere it's used. It shows me where it's used, so it will go through and change those. I'll click yes. And I'll go open my query again. And now my query's fixed. So that was an oversight on my part. However, you did get to see how easy it is to fix. It was just simply an error in the decimal places. I went in, fixed it in the table. I fixed it in design view in the table simply because my screen size is so small. It's easier for me to see it in design view. Propagated it, which means that I'm moving it forward. I'm pushing it out to the other objects that are based on that particular object and correcting it in those places as well.